Welcome to the Teacher Talk podcast with me, Lauren Gonzalez, where I invite teachers from all over the district to chat with me about what got them into teaching, what strategies new teachers should try, and just generally learning more about them. Join me as we build our teacher community and create an open and honest discourse around the teaching profession. Let's talk. Hello, FMS staff and families. Welcome back to another Teacher Talk podcast. My name is Lauren Gonzalez. I'm the media specialist here. And today I have a very special guest.
My name is Terri McCartney. I am the health occupations teacher at Farmington High School.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you just kind of tell me how long you've been teaching and kind of like what your journey to get to teaching
Okay,
was
well,
like?
it's been a little different than most teachers' journeys. Yeah. I started my 6th year at Farmington High as the health occupations teacher. Prior to that, I was actually a school nurse in the district, was at several different schools, depending on what the year was. Mm-hmm. It was back when, we didn't have a nurse in every school. And, you were covering 2 to 3 schools, depending on where you were at. And so I've been in Farmington School since 2013.
Oh, wow.
And I started this education / health journey 2011 in Aztec. And so, I've been at it a little while, but coming from that school nurse role to teaching is a little different. Not a lot of people do that. So it's a little, I don't want to say odd, but it's a different path than what most people take.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool that you were able to kind of make that shift into a need that we wanted to fill.
Right. And one of my favorite things about even the school nursing position is just how much you're educating. Even at elementary level, you're focused on educating parents as well as educating the student and teachers as well as staff.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's kind of a natural progression for a nurse to kind of go into an education role.
Yeah.
Because we educate all the time.
Yes.
We're doing education all the time.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Tell me a little bit about what your number one teaching strategy is.
Well, my number one teaching strategy is the relationships that you build with those kids. I've had some wonderful superintendents, and the first superintendent I had, I got to do a shout out to Kurt Carpenter and Aztec, because that was one thing that he really emphasized was the relationships with those kids. And so that kind of stuck with me. And so as an educator now, I know that if I can build a relationship with that student, that kind of transcends past that class. I have kids that'll come in that maybe they're a senior and they're in a short schedule and they know my prep is, 4th hour. And so they'll come in just to kind of touch base. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? And it also makes it a little easier when we do have kids that are struggling, because hopefully they have at least one adult at the school.
Yes.
One adult at the school even that they can confide a little bit in to kind of say, hey, this is what's going on with me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I love that. I've been hearing a lot about this relationship building kind of movement almost for teachers and students. And I love it. And you can see it. I visited your classroom and you can you can really tell when the students are just happy to be there and talked with you. And
the key with the relationships is the mutual respect.
Yes.
And any one of my kids that's taken a class with me, when we go over the class rules at the beginning, and that's my stressor, all these other rules, you can pretty much figure out a way that it's a respect thing.
Yeah.
We're respecting each other, we're respecting the equipment, and we're respecting each other's time.
Yeah.
And so I think that when you have an educator who views the kids as hey, this is a two-way street here.
Yeah.
I want you to respect me, but I'm also going to have a certain level of respect for you. Then that makes that relationship piece almost seem easy.
Yeah.
Almost seem easy, which is what we need, because if I'm taking a class and somebody's disrespectful, I really don't want to be in that class.
Yeah.
And so even as adults, we see that. And
Absolutely.
So it's key whenever we're looking at students and we're looking at, changing lives for those students, that they feel respected as well as they're respecting their teachers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder how much that modeling even extends into high school age. If they see people being respectful, it's well, this is just how we act.
Right. Exactly.
So.
Well, and for my students, they're hopefully, fingers crossed, going into the healthcare field. And so I mean, they're going to have encounters where, you know, they're going to have to be extremely respectful, maybe in a situation that they question.
Yeah.
And so, and having those tools and that guidance as far as like, this is how we, like you said, model that behavior, can go, I mean, it goes beyond high school for those kids.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Giving them the tools to succeed in the future. For sure. Tell me a little bit about like what your future goals are, like what you're, you know.
So my future goals, I mean, I enjoy thoroughly what I do.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
I really do. But I'm so, CTE is just ingrained simply because I think it's a program where you can take a kid that maybe they're not the best student or they haven't been the best student, and we can put them in a CTE class that they're interested in, and we can show them, hey, this is something you can do for a living.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that, you know, can kind of transform your projection as far as like what you can accomplish.
Yes.
And so I gravitate towards CTE, and my CTSO is HOSA. That is the group of students that I'm over. Our student organization, but I'm also, you know, fairly knowledgeable about other CTE programs simply because of my background and like who I'm married to. And so,
Gotcha.
And I seen that even with my own kids. You know, my son he was an okay student. He became a little bit better student when he had to start, you know, stepping up with his grades to compete.
Yes. Right.
Which is honestly, that's a great motivator for kids.
Absolutely.
But, we saw that with him once he kind of figured out what he wanted to do, and he was able to start taking dual credit classes at the college in automotive. That kind of, it made him strive for something beyond high school, which is what we should be looking at. You know, we have some kids that they're going to go to university, 4-year school. But then we have some kids that a 2-year degree, associate's degree is fine. For most of the healthcare stuff that I'm going over, that I'm teaching, there's like 9, 10, 11 different programs at San Juan College for health science. And then we have kids that are just like, I just need to get some kind of certification and get a job out of high school. And so CTE kind of opens that up. And I've seen that, you know, even, like I said, even with my own child.
Yes.
And so I always stress how important it is for those programs in schools.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you're totally right. And it's cool to see a result of your work too, like visiting these classes and kind of seeing the students work on something hands-on and like.
Well, and one of my biggest, you know, I hate to say it's a feather in my cap, but one of the things that I kind of pride myself on is, you know, a kid that maybe has struggled a little bit. And so I've had kids in my class that have things going on in their lives. I mean, I've had students that have had their own children.
Yes.
And so to work with them to see, hey, this is something that you can do that you're going to be able to do in a couple of years, taking college classes and get a degree and get some certification that you can take care of your family. One of my favorite students was one that she had a child and watching how hard she worked.
Yes.
Because she knew, hey, this is not like I get a redo on this. This is like, I gotta get nailed down so that I can take care of this kid.
Yeah.
And I love the kids like that, you know, that I think that a lot of times that are kind of pushed to the side, those are the kids I kind of gravitate towards.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Because they need to be shown that, hey, you know, you can kind of turn around what's been going on in your life to better your life. So.
Yeah. Don't continue like the spiral, just like fix, you know.
Exactly. I mean, or, you know, a kid, I mean, I've had several kids every week I'm filling out their form because they've got a parole officer and I'm like, what the heck did you do? You know, and again, building that relationship with those kids and saying, hey, you know, yeah, I mean, we all screw up, but this is where, you know, we kind of see this is what we need to change and this is how we do it. And like I said, I mean, hopefully all those kids have at least one person at the school that they can confide in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So. That's so great that, these kids are getting that opportunity to really discover what they want to do too, these programs. Can you kind of tell me just a little bit about like yourself, like outside of work? Like, what do you like doing?
Outside of work, I mentioned I'm married. I have 2 adult children now. Oh. Yeah. In fact, I'm a grandma now. And my daughter actually is an educator, which, yay. I mean, I love that. She's not CTE, but, I guess we can't win them all.
I know.
So she teaches English. But anyway.
We need that too.
But I mean, that's kind of been a change within the last year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much a homebody most of the time. I do like to go camping. I like to get out. And we're very fortunate in the area that we live in that, even an hour away, you're
for real.
in the mountains, way up in the mountains. This last weekend, my husband and I went on our color drive, and it's amazing to me the changes, even within a few hours, just in this area that you can see.
Absolutely.
So that's,
just depending on what direction you go.
Right.
Totally different stuff.
I do try to keep up with, latest trends for healthcare stuff. My students, I call them my kids, but my students every Monday, it's like, okay, what did she see this weekend? Because I'm like, did any of you see this report out? Because a lot of things with healthcare, it is keeping up on the latest, greatest, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, and I want the kids to do that. My job isn't to tell them what to think. I just want to be a facilitator. And so it's like, hey, what do you guys think about this? What are the pros and the cons of this? Like this week, we've been doing debates, and I love it whenever we debate. And my students love it. And it kind of forces them to look at both sides of it. And so, but I try to keep up on those kind of things that I can bring into the classroom that they're going to see that you and I might not see in our lifetime. The future of medicine that they definitely will be seeing.
That's so cool.
So.
Yes. Definitely get them thinking about it because it's going to be important.
Right. I'm like, we might not see this, but you guys will.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh, sure. No problem.
I appreciate your time. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. Please stay tuned for our next one. We've got some more very special guests coming in. I did forget to mention that you were nominated for Teacher of the Year, which was super cool.
Yeah, just to be nominated is great.
Yes.
Just because we have so many good educators in this district. And I see that as a nurse, I'm still a nurse, but I see that as an educator every day. Yeah. But I also saw that as a school nurse that we have a good chunk of our teachers that really do care about those kids, whenever we're having our meetings and we're like, okay, how are we going to reach this kid? How are we going to kind of change things for this kid?
Right.
That's conversations that we've had several times at several different schools. And so I know that we have a lot of good educators in this district.
Yes, we really do. We're so fortunate to have just people that care and are really just true masters of the craft. So cool. Awesome. Thank you again so much. And we'll see you in the next one.
Okay.